all good. Loud and clear.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Well, the stars align for Virat Kohli when it comes to playing Pakistan in an ICC event. A 51st one-day international 100 is just the icing on the cake in what was otherwise such an easy game for India. They get the better of Pakistan and the tournament's co-hosts have to worry about other results. Otherwise, this might mean they're out of the race for the semi-finals. But we look back at an impressive India win along with Anil Kumble, Uruj Mumtaz and Sanjay Manjrekar on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday, powered by Coca-Cola. Wonderful panel that we have here. Anil Kumble and Sanjay Manjrekar said 42nd or 43rd over. Uruj Mumtaz said 6 wickets. You guys know what you're talking about. And India knew what they were doing today, Sanjay.
Yes, and something that we expect now from India-Pakistan matches, but just shows India's dominance, India's growth, and really happy for Virat Kohli. This is his format, and so much talk about him coming to the next session 90 minutes before. So he puts in the hard yards. He knows that there are a lot of things that are not going in his favor. But what is in his control, he makes the most of it. There was a dive that he put in right towards the end. So those are the things that you've got to admire about Virat Kohli. It's not the strongest opposition in the world, but if it's within his control, you can bet that even at this stage, he'll make the most of it, and he deserved that. 100 not out, he deserved it.
Yeah, innings of great importance for Virat Kohli personally, Anil, given what the run of form he's had recently and going into perhaps the deep end business end of the tournament. But overall, it was just so easy for India, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was very easy for India, thanks to the batters who, even at the start, Rohit and Shubman Gill both got out to wonderful deliveries. But after that, it was just Virat Kohli and Shreyas Iyer. That partnership just took the game away from Pakistan. I mean, Virat was sublime. He was back to his, original sort of self of playing in one-day format, how he sort of looks to chase down targets. And I think the difference that I saw, at least from his innings against Bangladesh to this, of course, the pitch was slightly better, but even his own, when he sort of blocked against Bangladesh, a couple of dot balls, he was sort of shadowing that again after that. But today we didn't see any of that. He was just back to the way he bats, and that says that the mind space was at ease, and of course the challenge of playing Pakistan and the crowd, I'm sure, sort of helps him lift his game. And today we saw that on in sublime form. I thought in India we sort of understood, we predicted, saying, look, it's going to be an easy chase, but it certainly was an easy chase for India.
I just want to quickly grab what Anil has just mentioned, because that's a very important point. We've seen Virat Kohli over the years. I mean, everyone's seen him, but that's a very interesting, almost idiosyncrasy that he has, which tells you his state of mind. When he shadows a shot, when he plays a shot and he repeats that shot after he's played it or missed it, Anil, that shows his mindset, right? When he's a little tense and he's driven to sort of deliver in that particular innings, that is what he does. And when he doesn't do that, it shows that he's a little relaxed. His state of mind is very revealing when he doesn't shadow the shots that he attempts.
I mean, great players, tend to sort of put a lot of pressure on themselves, and that's something that we saw. Every time Virat goes there, the expectations are really high, not just for himself, but from the team's perspective as well, that he's going to get those runs for India, whether India bats first or chases down a target. And the fans' expectations, there's massive. He's a massive player. So obviously everything is sort of focused around Virat. And when that happens consistently, it starts to get to you, and then you're trying too hard to get out of that and try to be your normal batting self. And today I thought we saw that in Virat, and the way he constructed that 100 was, we've seen that many, many times in his 5100s in ODI cricket.
Yeah, there was an energy about him right from the get-go. even though, if it's fair to say, Pakistan felt like they were going to try and make something out of this, Uruj, it just turns out perhaps that when you said earlier, when we were talking about Babar, great players will find a way. Kohli, with his record against Pakistan, he might be scoring hundreds against them even when he's 50.
Yeah, great players find a way. And I think we spoke about this at the top of the show as well. In fact, even in the mid innings, that what great players then do is if the boundaries aren't coming, they run hard between the wickets and they manufacture those ones and twos. I think he ran what 46 ones and 13 twos. That sums up obviously the kind of grade that he is, but the fitness that comes with it. Albeit saying Pakistan obviously lacked that sort of venom in their bowling. They dropped more than three catches, Pakistan, and fielding. That love affair. Don't know when that is going to end. But I think we've got to give credit to yes, the openers set the platform for Kohli to do what he does, but mentally it does weigh down on you, even if you're a great. And Anil and Sanjay have already just mentioned that the greats set their bars so high they put self pressure on themselves, right? So it's that much more difficult. But for Kohli to do what he does, he's obviously a fantastic player. The way he constructed his innings was sublime to watch. And then he had very good quality Indian players batting around him. Like we've spoken about, I think there is a gulf now starting to develop between the quality and the depth in that quality as well with Indian players and the Pakistan players at the moment. And that was probably the biggest difference in the game.
In some ways, it's almost disappointing that the gulf is only increasing and that we're not seeing even the possibility of just Pakistan on a good day, like they did in the 2021 T20 World Cup, topple India, at least in the ODI format. It seems far-fetched as to when that day will come.
And we said that it's not a problem that we can solve by selection or, last game we were talking about intent of a couple of batters. This is a much more deep-rooted problem. 50 overs is slightly longer format, Test cricket even longer. So Pakistan may on occasions compete with teams like India in T20 cricket, but to consistently sort of challenge India in tests of 50 overs cricket, there's a lot of work, and it's not going to take a couple of months or a couple of years. It's going to take longer.
All right, let's talk about the other players that stood up. They made it look easy because the batters did their job. They all got runs. Spoken of Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, whose international career, we thought what's going to be Shreyas' future 6 months ago, and now suddenly it looks like Shreyas Iyer is in as purple a patch as he was in the 2023 World Cup.
Yeah, well done to the administration, to the selectors. They put pressure on him to play domestic cricket, and they said contracts won't be easily dished out, and if you prioritize other cricket other than domestic, then we are not going to be looking at you favorably, and that may have just got Shreyas to go down and play domestic cricket, because when he came back against England, and the first innings that he played, I mean, it was flawless. It was like a huge difference between the Shreyas Iyer of before and this one, and especially with the short ball. Right. I mean, how comfortable is he looking against the short ball? It's now not played out of desperation or trying to get himself into a counter-attacking mode. He's just sort of playing that shot carefully and with a lot of confidence.
You attribute that to a good move by the selectors to put him out of a comfort zone. There's an argument to be made that he should never have been asked to have all that in the first place, given he had such a good ODI World Cup and all. But you believe Shreyas being sent to domestic cricket has helped his game?
Yeah, because he's only playing sort of white ball cricket, right? Yeah. He's lost his place in the test squad. Shubman Gill is more busy than Shreyas Iyer. And we saw with Ishan Kishan too, you got the impression that they were not prioritizing domestic cricket to get into international cricket or play for India. And the selectors and the administration showed that if you're out of favor, if you're going to come back into the Indian team, this is the way to come back, domestic cricket. And that has done a wonder. Yeah. In fact, it's got to be a case study as to what a batter does when he's not playing for India and goes away from the Indian cricket scene, but comes back being this remarkable player that he's become now.
Anil, if you want to extend on that point, I think there was always going to be a chance Shreyas would come back the next time India played ODI cricket, and I think it happened when Gautam Gambhir took his first assignment away to Sri Lanka. But the fact that Sanjay says there's a marked improvement in his batting game, especially playing the short ball, do you attribute that to the hard yards and the time that he's put behind the scenes in domestic cricket?
Yes, I certainly agree with Sanjay on this because I think the situation sort of started around the time that he was in the test squad. And I think that's when he went back and he had a little bit of a niggle. That's what he mentioned. The physiotherapist said, no, he was fine. And then he was asked to play the domestic game. He didn't play that. And then that's when things sort of fell apart. There was a bit of a gap there, and that's exactly how things panned out for him, and he was left out from the contract list. And so he went back into domestic cricket, and we have seen a different Shreyas Iyer. We have, whenever he's batted the faster bowlers, earlier on, he would move around in his crease very
Yeah.
early in his innings, irrespective of what the situation was. But we never seen that today's game, where he was moving around in the crease, and he was always looking to sort of back away and then hit it over
Sure.
point, and that was probably his strength in white ball cricket against faster bowlers, but we never saw that. And that's something I think is thanks to his time in domestic cricket, and obviously he's worked really hard. And I'm sure, knowing Shreyas, how he's sort of panned out as a skipper too in other formats and for other franchises. He's mentally strong. So that's the best part about players who go back, who've been sort of not dropped, but sort of left out for a reason, and then they come back much stronger. And that's what you want to see in an individual, and that shows the character of a player.
There were few bounces bowled to him. They got Haris Rauf into the attack because Shreyas Iyer came into bat. Virat Kohli benefited from that move because he plays Haris Rauf better than any other bowler. But there were two bouncers that Shreyas Iyer ducked under, and there were a couple that he went after. So he's not somebody who's just trying to blindly attack and let the bowler know that, I enjoy playing bounces, I'm going to take you on. He ducked under bounces that he felt he could not, play shots to. And that tells you that he's got clarity now when it comes to the short ball, which is a massive improvement. Next goal, obviously, for him would be Test cricket, because white ball, he seems fine at the moment.
Well, certainly in this format, because ODI cricket, Shreyas Iyer and Virat Kohli were two India's top players in form. But it was set up for threes and fours with the way the openers play, Rujan. When India are off to 64 for 1, when Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill do what they do, even though Shaheen we thought was bowling better than he did against New Zealand, they make boundaries happen, they put bowlers off. It's the kind of thing I'm sure as a Pakistan follower and fan you'd love to see. This is what you need to do at the start of an ODI innings.
Yeah, you got to admire and give credit where it's due. India played fantastic. And again, it's the modern brand, it's the evolution of cricket that you have to keep up with. We spoke about this earlier as well. Rohit Sharma, we all knew, irrespective of how well Naseem and Shine would have bowled, he would have still continued the charge. So did Shubman Gill. Yes, you pay respect, and there's a fine line between being completely rash and taking risks. But that is where the modern game has evolved, and that's probably another thing that lacks in the Pakistan game. Even when you see them play T20 cricket, where probably the gulf is not as much, we're still lagging behind in sort of staying with the evolution. So Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, and you look down the order, you've got Virat Kohli that comes in. Yes, the platform was set, and it was always going to be set. And I think what India has as an advantage at the moment is, again, we talk about the depth in that batting, so which allows for Shubman and Rohit to play their natural game and take the bowlers on irrespective. Surface obviously definitely played far better than what Pakistan's 241 showed. But yeah, I think phenomenal. Yes, Shaheen bowled better in spells. I thought he brought his length back a little bit. Naseem was good as well. I think he was pick of the quicker bowlers. And you got to give credit to Abrar. But yeah, the Indian batting is probably the toughest in the tournament to bowl to.
Yeah, I mean, the Shaheen, you've said in the last game that has he lost his airspeed? That ball to Rohit Sharma was reminiscent of what we've seen Shaheen at his best for.
I mean, the first over that he bowled, you could see he was running in hard and he was putting in a lot. All the deliveries in the first over were 140 plus. And that ball to Rohit Sharma again, 140 plus, but swing. So I'm actually, wondering why wouldn't he bowl like that every match? Because we were led to believe that he's lost the pace forever. Because this is what we've seen, that speed of 135, 138 for a year. And suddenly on this big stage against India, he turns it up and you see him bowling 140 plus. And that's how he got that clean bowl, because of that extra pace.
Maybe Aruj can answer your question.
Yeah.
Maybe Indian Pakistan should play a lot more cricket then. Gets Kohli to 100, gets Shaheen Shah bowling quicker, and we all have a good time. I think it has to do with what Waqar Younis had mentioned, a few technical aspects in his run-up, where his front arm was just falling apart, which is what his angle of the wrist, Wasim Akram also picked up on. I think he's gone back and worked on those things. And there is a little bit of spice in the India-Pakistan game, and definitely he was running in quicker. It makes all the difference. 135 deliveries swinging and 145 deliveries swinging, it makes the difference. So if there's lack of swing or swing, but the pace does matter. And I thought he was probably at his best in
Yeah.
terms of since his injury, which has been about a year and a half now.
Yeah, I mean, he's
And
still
also, again,
gone.
sorry,
Please,
Rana, because these are important things which reveal the difference
please.
between India and Pakistan. Is now when he was bowling well, and you saw Rohit Sharma giving him a lot of respect, leaving balls outside the off stump. But just to put the bowler off, there was one attempt where he went down the pitch and took him on. And the next ball was a slightly shorter delivery, which was flicked away. So that is what India does and good teams do. You can't just sit back and let a quality bowler bowl where he wants to, which is what Pakistan does. So saw that huge difference in the way Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma tackle a quality bowler.
Yeah, and to add to Sanjay's point, he's gone for 74. He actually bowled better. You might, if you've missed that, you might think, oh, he's been expensive. But Anil, some of the shots Shubman Gill played might have been short of his 50. But that was a player, I keep saying it, at the peak of his powers.
Oh yeah, I mean the angle of the bat, it was as straight as an arrow.
I
I mean
swear.
the one that he hit Shaheen Afridi past him, it was something that we've seen probably Sachin play those kind of shots, but this was superb batting. It required a special delivery to get him out, and so was Rohit Sharma. I thought that opening partnership was classic, sort of display of how to go about in a ODI format, in white ball cricket. And that's something that, especially in the subcontinent, you have to utilize the first 10 overs. There's no two ways about it. You can't sit back and allow the opposition bowlers to dominate or dictate in those first 10 overs. And both Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma, I mean, Shubman Gill was outstanding. I mean, he just continued from where he left off. And perhaps if he had stayed there, he would have probably ended up with another 100. And that's how good he looked.
Well, seems like for the kind of form he's in, it would take a special ball to get him out.
Yeah.
And I actually have 3 leg spinners on my show. I know I was going to say 2 for Anil and Uruj, but I'm including you as well now.
You have to. I mean,
No, the main one is sitting next to you.
You're right.
The main spinner is sitting next to you. Yeah,
Yeah, my
senior
fundamentals
most.
were very good.
Okay.
And after that, I had nothing.
Okay, great. Let me go to the one who had a little more than nothing, or a lot more than nothing. Anil, the ball from Abrar though, some ball.
Oh yeah, it was. I think it was perfect. He sort of bowls with front of his hand, and that's how he sort of changes that bowls leg spin, and then bowls the googly. I thought it pitched at the right spot, just enough to beat Shubman Gill. He looked to play off the back foot. Obviously, he was playing for that one which was coming back in, but just deviated enough to take that stump. I mean, it was one of those things which had to be a special one to get a special player like Shubman Gill.
Yeah, 1 for 28 of 10, not conceding a boundary against this in-form Indian batting lineup. Uruj, wherever things go from here for Pakistan after this tournament, we talk about their lack of resources with spin, but Abrar might actually be an answer, at least in the medium or short term.
Yeah, 100%. I think a massive credit to the youngster, obviously fresh into his international career, fresh into his ODI career, and the magnanimity of an India-Pakistan game, and obviously bowling to names like Shubman Gill, who's obviously in the purple patch, Sharma and Virat Kohli, big names which I'm sure Abrar must have grown up admiring and idolizing as well. But to then hold his nerve, not concede a boundary, just go for 28. And the one thing was he never looked phased by the event. If you looked at him, even the send off to Gill, I don't know. I hope he doesn't get fined for it. But it was almost like, right, it was a confidence that was oozing, like, I got this, I have it, which was very good to see, that quality, that he was in control of his craft, which allowed for him to add that added sort of confidence booster to him. So special delivery. Again, it was important that him in particular leading that inexperienced spin attack. His length had to be key, and I thought he was excellent. So credit to him, and I think he's definitely one for the future for us.
Yes.
I saw the ICC Code of Conduct book when he did that, and I've seen that it's okay to do a send-off or send the batter off with your eyes. But if you do any kind of gesture, you could be fined.
Anil used to write the ICC Code of Conduct, so maybe I can ask him.
I saw it. I mean, with the eyes, you can do it.
I think there was no problem. He just kind of went like, see you. Hardik gave Babar a bit of a bye today, I think.
Yeah, that could be penalized. But with the eyes, you can.
Okay.
But the other one thing, when Abrar finished his spell, it was really special and really heartwarming for Kohli to actually come up and tap him on his shoulder, and I think it was somewhere around well bowled. And that was really nice to see in terms of the great actually acknowledging and applauding the effort of that youngster.
Yeah.
She's keeping the show dignified as well, going back
Somebody
to what...
has to. The only two are away. But yeah, I think it's a good point though, because you remember, even though the game was lost in Ahmedabad, India-Pakistan, Shadab Khan just completely had lost his length and there were full tosses being hit. So Abrar Ahmed focused on
a couple of more spinners in the side, in the squad, would have helped Pakistan, because you're looking at Haris Rauf creating no issues at all. Naseem Shah is a fantastic bowler, but in these conditions, if we had two sort of pure spinning options to pick from, who knows, the run chase would have been a little more difficult. I don't think they've got the horses for courses here.
Right. That is, I think, a conversation for Pakistan cricket that we can still say for one more game. They'd be dearly hoping for some extraordinary fate and results. If New Zealand win tomorrow, that's the end of Pakistan's hopes for the semi-final. But for now, we also have a major milestone that's been crossed in this game. We were aware of it because you tend to be aware when it's Virat Kohli, but he has now gone past 14,000 one-day international men's runs. 287 innings puts him well fast off Sachin Tendulkar at 350, Kumar Sangakkara at 378. He's only about, I think, 150 or so short of Sangha in terms of runs tally now. But that is where Kohli stands. Anil Kumble, extraordinary feat. He already went past Tendulkar's 100 tally at the last ICC Men's ODI event, and he's not done yet.
Oh yeah, it's an outstanding effort, to reach 14,000 runs in almost 60 innings lesser than a Tendulkar, and that's something that tells you the ability and the quality, and of course in all these run chases, perhaps those 287 innings, out of which probably 30% of them or even more would have been something like what he did today, winning the game for India, chasing down targets. And that is a very special knock. And to have that, he's only 36 now and 14,000 ODI runs. So, yeah, 5,100s. And that says the quality and the ability of the man.
Batting at number 3 as well. Tendulkar, had 50, 60 matches batting down the order, but the rest were all at the top of the order. So he's batted in number 3, so he's missed out quite a few times on the number of balls and overs. So for somebody who bats at number 3 to have that high an aggregate is a special effort.
All right, it is indeed a special effort, and he is, of course, a special player. And just as we try and wrap up the other storylines from this game, India have done this so comfortably, but we did expect this result, it's fair to say. There are going to be tougher games. New Zealand, you presume, is a tough game coming up. And let's just revisit what India would still work on with this long break that they have now, 7 days. Wickets in the middle overs, perhaps, with the ball, something that they'll discuss over the next few days?
I also just want to quickly mention Hardik Pandya for the fantastic job that he did. Yes. He got a well-said Babar Azam out and Saud Shakil as well. So while we were talking about people who impacted today's game for India to win, Hardik Pandya is one. So that's good news that his bowling, came of age today. Mohammad Shami is still sort of...
5 in the last game, we thought we've seen he's getting to the best.
And he'll get hot better, and Harshit Rana, if they feel he's doing well. I think I like Harshit Rana in that team, because in the middle stages, he's prone to getting wickets. If they are not too happy with that, we've got Arshdeep. I just want the spinners. With Anil Kumble there, I get a little conscious about Kuldeep Yadav because I want Kuldeep Yadav to get wickets in the middle. And when that starts happening, that would be, no grey area or no weak area for India. Then they look commanding. I just want Kuldeep Yadav to start beating the batters while they're taking the ones and twos or while defending. Maybe get those 3 wickets that he got today earlier. Yeah, Anil, all yours.
He's a very difficult man to impress, isn't he? Kuldeep did exceptionally well. He's picked up 3 wickets, and then he says, "No, I want Kuldeep to get wickets in the middle overs." So maybe next game against New Zealand.
I was fairly impressed with you, Anil. You're a pretty decent bowler.
Thank you, thank you, Sanjay.
Anil, in all seriousness, if there's anything that you'd like to touch upon, are India firing on all cylinders? Are there still areas that need to be polished when tougher opposition come their way?
No, I think all areas are covered. It's important that India just continue the good work against New Zealand. You don't want to drop guard. 6 days is a long break, and then you would ideally, if ever there's an opportunity with the batting, you could perhaps push Jadeja up the order so that he also gets a bit of a look in and a feel in these conditions. I know he played against England and got some runs, but ideally in these conditions, just to ensure that he is also in the mix when it comes to batting. And that's the only thing. Otherwise, I think the bowling is looking good. The fielding has been good. Of course, against Bangladesh, a couple of catches, dropped catches, but otherwise the batting, all departments are firing. You don't want, 100% game yet. You would want to hold that back for the business end of the tournament. So ideally, yes, India is in good form. Just continue the good work.
And are you okay with two left-arm spinners there and Varun Chakraborty? Any plans to get him
Yeah,
in at some stage? Do you think that is likely to happen? Or
yeah, possibly. I mean, if India feels by then they would have also seen the other teams as well, because 6 days you would have had the rest of the tournament also unfold. So maybe against New Zealand, perhaps try Varun Chakravarti and see what he is able to do. Not overlooking Kuldeep, but maybe one of the left arm spinners, Akshar Patel or a Jadeja. But I would certainly feel that the team is doing well. Why break that? And just continue with the same team.
He did say not overlooking Kuldeep, just for you.
but he might just get
not for
3
anybody
wickets
else.
earlier than Kuldeep.
Okay, yeah, I can tell you from the intelligence I've gathered is India's plan is to play
Kidding.
one of Kuldeep or Varun and not both at any point.
Yeah,
They
no,
want batting till late.
I have to respect that.
Yeah, Anil, would you like to give him anything more, or can I move on?
No, please move on.
I'll move on. Okay.
No, you can move on. You can move
Thank
on.
you, Anil.
Yeah.
That also you're answering.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Uruj, in all seriousness, Rizwan is giving, I can only see the visuals, I can't hear anything, but he's giving a very animated post-match press conference right now. I'm sure questions are going to be asked. The media can be unkind in these situations, but all the optimism, an ICC men's event after nearly 3 decades, and could very well be by this time tomorrow the first team to actually be out of the running for the semi-finals. It hurts, but can we say that it was coming?
Yeah, I think it's a harsh reality, and it's high time that Pakistan sort of grabbed their own cricket by the scruff of the neck. They let themselves down. New Zealand did not outplay us. India did not outplay us. Yes, the results might show that, but if you really look at and peel the layers back, Pakistan have actually let themselves down. The approach and the intent with which they approached the run chase against New Zealand, with again the way and the manner in which they constructed the 241 in this game as well. So Pakistan have definitely let themselves down. All the talk and bravado about the Pakistan hosting it, and they massively let themselves down. They let the fans down, and there has to be introspect into Pakistan cricket. Again, we're coming back to quality and depth. There is not much behind. And like Sanjay said, it's not going to be a few months. It's going to be probably a year's rebuilding. But somebody needs to start it. And that's the problem. We can't just keep sugarcoating it. We can't keep brushing under the carpet by winning 1 or 2 games. And then we sort of spend the entire year until the eve of the next ICC event. And then we come out with a 15, which has 4 names, which haven't played one-day cricket in 2 years. So I think we've got a massive legacy in history that we should be building on. And it seems to have come to a standstill. So I don't know what Rizwan is going to say today, but again, it was the game that the way it was set up, that partnership between him and Saud just wasn't quick enough, and probably snowballed from there.
All right. Well, I think again we reserve a few more detailed review conversations for the last game for Pakistan in the group stage at least, which could be their last game in the tournament against Bangladesh. I think this pretty much covers everything. Things looking good. India looking fine. They'll be enjoying a 6-7 day break. And I think from the panel, so will Sanjay Manjrekar, so will Anil Kumble. So it's time to say thank you very much. Anil, always a pleasure. I can tell our viewers it's not because of Sanjay that Anil has gone back to Bangalore. He'll be back.
We go back a long way, Rana.
Of course. Thank you so much,
a ride.
Sanjay Manjrekar. Always a pleasure having your thoughts. Uruj, always a pleasure as well.
Thank you, guys.
Right, this is where we wrap things up.
you.
Look forward to
Thank
your
you.
company tomorrow for Bangladesh against New Zealand. Build up for the pre-show round the toss on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Match Day, powered by Coca-Cola. For now, it's yet another India win, 2 out of 2 for them, and they're looking good as we enter the business end of the Champions Trophy.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.